Well, hello from Cannes. I'm Caitlin Brudvig, Director of Integrated Marketing at Epidemic Sound, and I'm here with pretty much partner in crime over at Epidemic. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, I'm Tove Bjurstro, and I'm Associate Creative Director at Epidemic Sound.
Great. And today I think what we wanted to talk about is just commanding creativity, being two women owning and strategizing our rebrand this year, as well as trying to go to market globally for the first time as a company. We've really tried to harness creativity at the core of everything that we've done when we really haven't had time or resources on our side. And we have a big team back in Stockholm, Sweden that have really risen to the occasion, but we just wanted to take a moment to reflect. And so I have a couple of questions for Tove today. First thing, how do you command creativity, in your role at Epidemic, but how do you guide that amongst your team as well?
Yeah. So I think with all the struggles that we have and all the constraints that we have, like always, like in general, with like timelines and budgets and everything, I think it's important to easily be swooped in and be, like almost impatient.
Yes.
And I think that's general human, I would say, to be like impatient. You want things to happen. And
Instant gratification,
yeah,
right?
Exactly, instant gratification. But I think one thing to always keep in mind is the best solutions happen when we actually share ideas and thoughts together and build on each other. So taking that time to invest and actually building that foundation.
Absolutely.
And that forum where you can actually have the safe space and feel like, okay, I'm allowed to say and do anything, like, I don't know, but you understand.
No,
Say
absolutely.
anything.
I think absolutely.
And making sure that you actually take that time to invest in making that foundation, then you will make sure that you will also have the best creative solutions, and
Yes.
you will also have an efficient team, because this is actually scalable, but it has to be a part of the process.
Yes. And I think it's excellent that you bring that up, because as marketers and then obviously creative, sometimes, I don't know, that can have a bad rap in terms of it's this team versus that team. But I think you've done an excellent job of making space and being able to cultivate those moments where the teams can collaborate and share ideas and then start to pull ideas up, and that's actually how the rebrand campaign for March went down. And so I think if teams across creative sectors can be able to give that space and grace for teams to be able to collaborate, I think that ingenuity of good idea making and campaigns will come.
Yeah, definitely. I'm 100% sure that is the solution to actually maintain like a creative height and like executional heights, and making sure that also the level of details, also like really reaches that level that you want to.
Absolutely. So now let's reflect on us as women, personally, especially in our areas. In what ways have you had to show up for yourself, whether that's commanding resources in a room or making sure that brand or creative is prioritized? What does that look like for you? It could be previously in your career as well.
Yeah, I think like well, especially for creative directors, like there's overwhelmingly way more men being creative directors than women. So you always have to kind of like struggle to actually keeping that balance between being the woman in the room and not also and being the creative director actually.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'm also working with a lot is to kind of like making sure that female qualities also are being normalized.
So important.
So I would say that there are a few qualities that are, connected more to women, which, for example, could be like expressing feelings.
Sure.
And I would say that it's so easy to kind of like if a woman expresses a strong feeling about something, it's very easy to
assume she's too passionate.
Yeah,
or
exactly. Or like she's irrational,
right.
or like she's just having a hard time to keep track, for
Right.
example. And that is not always the case. It's just
Right.
another way of expressing feelings
Right.
and emotions. And I would say that doing that is also a way to keep your team happier. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. I mean, we should all learn to talk about how, because that is the key to actually talk about, like, how can we improve, what did we do wrong, and like, how are you feeling right now,
authenticity,
like, yeah,
vulnerable
exactly.
conversations.
And if you don't have the words for the feelings, or like don't know how to express them, then I don't know how you will ever be human.
Yeah, and I think it's really important as we start to build more within the creative community in general, of making that space and empathy so that they can feel seen in their ideation, which sometimes is a super painful and friction full process. And so I think how we can do that to partner with people who are creating content, I think, and show that we have those moments of human emotion, and that we understand their process, both being creatives internally, but also working with creators. I think that's super important, and I think it should be normalized to a degree.
Very, and I also think, like, for me, it definitely took some time to feel that, confident in actually not hiding my interests in a way, or like my qualities, because that's what I did at the beginning of my career. Now it's more like, okay, I don't have to hide it. It's actually something that I can use as a force in my work.
It's part of your skill set.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so final question. What inspires you? I mean, you're in creative, you're seeing things, you're creating visual expressions all day, you and your team. How do you remain inspired?
Yeah. I mean, also, that is, a hard question, obviously, but it's also, what I realized is that I am an observer.
Yeah.
So I'm not always like, I definitely have an on and off personality, but I notice that, like, when I'm like maybe perceived as off, it actually means that I'm observing everything. I suck it in, and it's like everything from like behaviors or like experiences or materials, and then somehow I kind of like make that into inspiration and something useful.
Conceptualize.
Yeah, conceptualize it, and also like just build this kind of library of my own kind of library of like things I saw, and then I'm like, I have a quite good radar to actually know what works or not.
Sure. And I think it's really important, back to the second question of us as women, like in the roles that we're in, we're trained and we motivate by listening, actively listening to our teams to be able to aggregate information and then build something out of it. I think that you being an observer allows for that creativity to be expressed in unique ways that I think maybe others might not necessarily know. So it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you so much.